And we're back. We're live. How long has it
Hey!
been? A month? 2 months? It's been a while.
It's been a few weeks, yeah.
Took the holidays off, extended holidays, and it's good to be back talking about MCU. Not that we really missed much. There were no movies that came out that we needed to talk about, so we were like, that's okay. So this is the first time we've been back in the new year. I, of course, am your host, Chris, as always, joined by my wonderful co-host, Debbie. And we're joined, as we usually are, by David down below, who is also the host of the Star Wars Cantina Happy Hour on Thursday nights. So we're happy to have him here to talk about the MCU. And so basically what we're going to do today is we're going to talk about everything that came out in 2022, whether it was good, bad, or terrible, or fine. I don't know. We're going to talk about it. And you can tell us what you thought in the comments, and we'll probably talk about what you thought of these things. And if you've been watching the show, you might already have an idea of what we think of some of these things. But we're going to go over it again to get the year 2022 year in review here on MCU Mondays. It almost works so well. Anyway, let's get the theme song going, and then we'll just hop right into it. Which theme song do we want to do? How about the holiday special?
She just cue the music.
It's MCU Mondays on Geek News Now. We're talking about all of Geek News Now. Movies and TV and comics, news, other opinions, breaking news and reviews. It's Geek News Now. It's your favorites.
So that's an appropriate clip to use. That was actually the last new thing to come out, the last part of Phase 4. Yeah. So that was the Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special, which compared to the rest of 2022, I thought did really good. And yeah.
Well, it had Chris Pratt in it, and you can never go wrong with Chris Pratt.
And the legendary Kevin Bacon.
Exactly.
I think there was a lot. They had a lot of fun with that whole, because that just started out as kind of a joke, and then they turned it into like, look, we actually got Kevin Bacon for this bit. Yeah, definitely fun to see them. It definitely gets me more excited for the Guardians of the Galaxy movie. But that's looking ahead. For right now, we're looking back. So what was? Do we have to go in order? Let's take a look at these. I guess we could talk about whichever one you guys want to talk about first. But I think was Moon Knight the first one.
Ooh,
I think so.
I think Moon Knight was. We can start with Moon Knight. Well, Moon Knight, and it's good. I'll start off on a good foot. I think a lot of people really enjoyed Moon Knight. I definitely did. Were there some complaints? Yeah, but after having seen like She-Hulk, I'm like, why did I even complain about this stuff in Moon Knight?
This wasn't in comparison. Yeah. It wasn't that bad.
Yeah, it was great. You know, for Moon Knight, I have nitpicks. For like She-Hulk, I have serious problems. You know, so I definitely think Moon Knight, in my opinion, did better in that respect. Also, Oscar Isaac, I think, did a great job with that role, playing the multiple roles that he was kind of playing. So, Debbie, what did you think about Moon Knight? I was a big fan. So,
yeah, I loved it. I thought it was great. Can't go wrong with Oscar Isaacs. You know, nice to look at, easy on the eyes. William,
I'll take your word for it on that one.
Easy on the eyes. Yeah.
Yeah, it was an intriguing show, like you said, with him dealing with 2 or 3 personalities, and then everything else that was going on in his life, and we didn't know which end was up. And if he was actually going crazy, or if he was just imagining things, or if it was actually happening. So
I liked how so many people came out and said Moon Knight was one of those ones that needed to be rated R, that needed to be an R-rated show because the comics are violent. I mean, it's the same thing with Deadpool. Deadpool needed to be rated R because that's the way his character is. Now, with Moon Knight, they didn't. Obviously, it wasn't rated R. It was a TV show. But they pushed and they stepped right up to the line without actually crossing into R-rated territory. There was a lot of blood in this one, a lot of violence, gore, stuff like that. So I like the way that they did that, to where they managed to keep it, okay, it's still safe for kids, and like Luke could watch it, you know. I got Luke to watch it, and it was fine. It wasn't like, oh my gosh, I gotta go fast forward, or, you know, pause, nope, get out, things like that.
Music's a little loud.
That was it.
Or at least it was on my end.
Turn your speakers down.
I can't hear anything. Then I just sit here and look like an idiot, which is, you know,
And that's my job. So
not, you know, it's not unusual for me to sit here and
stop
look like an idiot.
hedging
So.
in on my territory. Who played the villain in that? Ethan Hawke, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yes.
And he was great too.
Yeah, of
I
course.
thought he did a good job.
I hadn't seen him in anything in a long time, so it was nice to
And
see
it
him
was
back making some money.
I found him to be an interesting character too. Like, he's like, I break a bunch of glass and then I put it in my shoe and then I go walk around. And I'm just like, that's really messed up. Who does that? Breaks
That's
glass
commitment.
inside their shoe and then walks around. I'm like, this is an evil dude. He can probably pull some stuff off that you wouldn't be expecting. My goodness. Why would you do that? And then it turns out he's working for the Crocodile God. Didn't that kind of end on like not a cliffhanger, but I guess the third personality shows up. John.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they did kind of leave it like
There could be another one. Yeah.
there could be more.
And he's hinted to it. It was several months after the show ended, and I think they were in
Him and
Cairo.
the director were in
Yeah,
Cairo.
they were in Cairo, and they just said, "Why else would we be here?" So it's like, I mean, they didn't come out and say it, but they kind of alluded to it. But we haven't heard anything else since. So,
But they dropped Werewolf by Midnight on us without
That's
without
true.
any kind of
Or
pomp and
Werewolf by
circumstance.
Night. Yeah.
Moon
Werewolf
Knight,
by
I wouldn't mind having another season or several seasons, as a matter of fact. So.
I was kind of hoping they were going to do something with Thor: Love and Thunder with Gore the God Butcher. I was like, hey, what a time to we just have a bunch of Egyptian gods that are now being introduced. Wouldn't that be a great time to have some sort of
Add
and
some
then-
substance to Thor.
Yeah, and with Moon Knight being as enjoyable as it was, I was like, I doubt it's going to happen, but I was definitely looking forward to Thor: Love and Thunder, and I think that one was one that kind of was mishandled. So let's talk about Thor: Love and Thunder. It's not the next one that came out. We still have other ones to talk about in that respect, but since I just started talking about it, why not?
I don't care what order we go in.
It doesn't matter as long as we cover it all. Thor: Love and Thunder, that one came out fairly recently, and I was excited for it because I was like, Christian Bale as Gore the God Butcher
I think we all were.
looks to be pretty great, and I'm not saying he was bad in the film, but I think he was underutilized for sure. Like he should have been in it more.
Yes.
Like, how many gods did we see get butchered?
Yeah, one.
Yeah.
Like, get more happening in that respect. And
Well, actually, two.
Oh,
We,
yeah.
Well, we seen the first one get
He
murdered,
comes
and then
back
the
then.
other one was already. We just seen him.
was
already
dead when he got there. Yeah.
yeah, which feels like a kind of a waste because he's gone now. It's like that was the story of Gore the God Butcher. He killed maybe a guy. Scary.
Yeah, that was my major complaint because the character looked really great, and of course
that was your major complaint. My major complaint was that it was the whole movie was a running gag. It was all just one big joke. I mean, I looked at it and I'm like, come on now, this is Thor. There's got to be some kind of serious to it to make me take this seriously. Otherwise, it's a joke. And I was actually talking to my brother about this the other day, and he said that, well, if you look at it and it's from Korg's perspective, and Korg is the one telling the story, so it's going to be silly. And I'm
I
like,
believe I said that. I
was like, yeah, but gosh, even then, it's not. I mean, I don't know. It was a comedy. It wasn't an action movie. It wasn't a sci-fi movie. It wasn't a fantasy movie. It was a comedy. You might as well have had Adam Sandler in there doing something.
And I think you're not the only person that had that. Because I go and I look at what other people said and what their reviews are, because you know, I know what I think, but what did you think? This is part of the fun of watching these shows, is getting to talk about it and saying what you liked or what you didn't like. So I'm looking at these other reviews, and I think I saw a lot of that, where even the people, and I'm one of the people that thought the humor was already kind of taking over in the last one they did, Thor Ragnarok. And I was like, yes, you can have humor and stuff, but it feels like they're almost putting it in too much, that then the emotional stakes aren't hitting the same way because everything's just like a big joke. And I think they went even further. They definitely went further with it in this one.
Yeah.
And it could have worked, because I can see how they went a little too far in the jokes, but the real bright, almost garishly bright, like God's Court and everything like that, you know, the colors were very vibrant for a Marvel movie. That doesn't always happen. They do a lot of more subdued stuff. Like at the end of Endgame,
Ragnarok was pretty bright.
Ragnarok was brighter, especially than Thor: The Dark World. But that's literally called The Dark World. But if you look at the end of Endgame, for example, when all the superheroes are coming out, it's not really all that colorful. It's very kind of muted, like darker tone reds and, you know, whatever. This one, they go to that Court of the God, and it's like bright, vibrant colors, rainbow, and that contrasts very well with like when it would go to Gore the God Butcher, who's literally gray, and everything, that shadow world that he goes to is all on a gray scale. And that's a really, like, that was one of the things I really liked about Thor Love and Thunder, is that contrast. I was like, if they had worked more with that, as in having more of Gore the God Butcher doing more butchering things, having that combined more, I think you would have had a more impactful movie.
Yeah.
And just an overall better movie. That being said, I don't think it was terrible, but I think they missed some opportunities.
That was, and again, my brother said this. He said with the Ragnarok, they gave Taika Waititi some room to play, but they still had him on a leash, and they still said, you know. And then when Ragnarok was like everybody's favorite. Everybody loved Ragnarok. And
not me, but I mean, I enjoyed it again, but I had the problem.
You got to think about it compared to the last Thor movie that we had, the
Dark World.
Dark World. Yeah, of course, everybody's gonna like this.
Yeah,
but they said, they looked at that and they said, okay, he can make a good movie. And basically, it looks like with this one, they just said, just go, have free reign, do what you want to do. And he kind of went nuts with the whole thing.
Got a little carried away with it. So we got John Ambrose in the chat. Has Thor finally found himself after this? Can we move on from that whole thing? Yeah. Well, it's like he has had kind of an identity crisis the past several movies. I mean, in Infinity War and Endgame, you know, we get fat Thor, and then it's like, I'm on a journey to be okay. And that's kind of where he is now. It's like, but Chris Hemsworth has almost said he's done with the role unless they change up how they're writing Thor. I think that's what he came out and said after the film. So that's where they definitely.
Yeah, when your actor is saying, you're getting a little too silly for me, I'm done.
The Sports Report podcast in the chat saying, I hated Love and Thunder. But Hate and Thunder. I hated Thor Love and Thunder. Yeah, it did not get as favorable a reaction as Ragnarok did. I can definitely put it that way. Wanders around like an old man in a Cialis commercial. I mean, he is in great shape. I think that's another thing that he wasn't a huge fan of, is he like gets ripped for this role, and then he's kind of like a gag half the movie.
Yeah.
And it's like, and then they just CGI up Natalie Portman to look buff. It's like, you don't have to, keep in the shape. Well, because we're not going to rip all of your clothes off in the middle of a stadium and have everyone hoot at you.
Again, the sexism spills out. I want to join the Me Too movement.
It does seem a bit I don't know, either like the lack of self-awareness, like, did you really just put that scene in there? I mean, they must have known what they were doing. They're just like, it's funny and okay because we're doing it to a man. It's punching up. I don't know what your thought is there, but that's not, if it's unacceptable to do that for one gender, it's probably unacceptable to do it for the other one. But
I'm just offended at the fact that if that had been Natalie Portman and he had done that and we saw Natalie Portman's backside and naked back and everything,
there would have been,
and she would have said, "You flipped too hard," and all the guys were sitting back going, "Woo, yeah!" All the women would have been like, "You nasty perverts!" But you do it to a guy, and they're like, "Oh yeah."
And not obviously not everyone
Double
responds
standard.
the same way to these things, but it is something that we've been seeing more from the MCU. Even when Black Widow, she comes out and she's like, they over-sexualize my character, and I'm like, you can't. That doesn't work, okay? Because that character is literally sexy spy. That's the description, is sexy spy. And the other thing about it is she's usually using her sexuality in order to trick weak-willed men and get used as an advantage. And it's like,
and most of the time she's fully clothed.
Yeah,
that was the whole bit in the first Avengers movie. She was talking to that Russian guy at the first, and then she weaseled out of Loki while he was there. Oh, you're throwing out the Hulk. Okay, well that's your play then. Thank you. He's like, wait, what?
It's like it's a sexy spy role. That's like James Bond. Oh, he's going around sleeping with women. You've too sexualized the character. No, that is the character. I don't know how years after you've played this character for years and years in many different movies that you're like, they shouldn't have made her so. I'm like, what are you talking? That is exactly what you signed up for in that case. I know there are cases where that's not, but when the role is sexy spy, I think you should expect sexiness comes with the role. And that's why you got the role.
She's sexy. Hey, everything works.
Uh-oh. John spotted it. Misogyny. Somehow, talking about Thor again, he became the comical punching bag for the Avengers. I can't figure out why. Yeah, they kind of, at the end of Infinity War, now he was pretty awesome in that movie. I mean, he forges the giant axe by holding the forge and the star. That's pretty awesome.
Forge. Yeah.
And then he takes the axe and, he kills Thanos. And that's pretty awesome, even if he, should have gone for the head. It's still flying through the air with a giant axe and lightning striking into it, It's pretty
He should have
awesome.
cut off his arm. He just should have cut his arm off.
Why didn't anyone do that at any point? Yeah. Hey, Doctor Strange, you can cut off arms. You've displayed this at the beginning of the movie that you did it to that other guy. Do one of those on his arm. Cut the gauntlet off, problem solved. But if they do that, then there's no movie. So
I would
Melissa
not go
McCarthy
see
would
that.
be in there. That's exactly his point.
I know. I would not. I would boycott that movie.
If
I would
Melissa-
stand outside. I would stand outside the theater with a sign saying, "Do not go watch this movie."
You're destroying characters. Yeah, but she wouldn't get the role because unless you're literally doing a parody movie, in which case, yeah. But the reason that that's a parody is, look, instead of a conventionally attractive woman, we picked this potato.
I love it.
I was like, I don't want a word that's too offensive.
No, that one was perfect.
Don't you know who I am? I'm the Juggernaut, bitch!
See, that's the role Melissa McCarthy should play.
The Juggernaut?
Yeah. It's an insult to
potatoes.
I would eat, yeah. So anyway, Thor: Love and Thunder. As far as hype goes, I was definitely a little bit disappointed in that one because there's other movies and stuff we're going to talk about here in a second that I didn't really have an expectation for, and so that meant I could be like pleasantly surprised or disappointed. But still, with Thor, I had those expectations; they were not met. What are you going to do? Let's take a look. What else do we have? I think Miss Marvel. That was earlier in the. Yeah, Miss Marvel.
I'll start off.
Yeah.
I had no love for the character. I did not care for the character. I thought she was overused in the video games, and I thought she was overused just everywhere. And I loved this show. I thought it was great. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I don't know if it was the actors bringing life to the character, the way that they changed her powers to where she's not a female Mr. Fantastic. She's just kind of she's got these the bracelet thing that helps her do her thing. I really liked the show. I thought it was awesome. I loved it.
Debbie?
I enjoyed it. Not as much as Moon Knight. Probably more than She-Hulk. So
That's
it lands in
such a low bar for most people. I'm sorry.
I enjoyed it. I mean, it wasn't. I mean, it had its moments that made me laugh out loud and whatnot. Wasn't exactly my cup of tea, but I'm still looking forward to seeing the movie Miss Marvels or the Marvels or whatever.
The Marvels, yeah.
Well, go potty.
Yeah, that's still coming out at some point. I was like, should I mute him? And then I was like, oh, well, I definitely should have.
Go potty.
All right, John, we'll get to talking about She-Hulk eventually. Don't worry. For now, Miss Marvel. I recall enjoying the show. Again, this is one I had no expectations for. I probably wouldn't have watched it if it wasn't for the fact that I do this show, and so we need to be able to talk about it. And just from watching it, there's definitely it was all right. They did some fun things with editing that I really liked. They took some chances there and did some new transitional stuff that I found pretty cool. So I'd like to see more kind of stuff like that. So they definitely got me there. The powers were pretty cool and well, like the graphics were pretty well done. And I think the actors all did a fine job. I didn't really have many problems there or anything like that. So yeah, it was fine though. It wasn't like, oh, right. I can't wait to see more of it. It's like, it was good. And I watched the second season or whatever with more interest because I want to see if they keep doing different stuff. But one problem I didn't have, I remember, was Damage Control. Never living up to that name in any way. They're just like shooting missiles into people's houses. And it's like, That's
You're
damage control.
You're
launching
causing
missiles.
damage.
That's literally damage. There's no Hulk type monster that you've got to stop. There was a kid. You shot a missile at a kid. And your damage control? I think that was part of the point, is that they were, because at the end, doesn't like the one lady.
The one lady, it's like she gets fired or something, because they even said, "What are you doing?" Like her boss.
Yeah. Because she stops listening to orders and she starts going over even more over the top than they had been already. And it's like, you're not doing a good job. And I think at the end they're like, you're terrible. You're done. Get out of here.
I wonder if that's going to have any play into Thunderbolts, maybe.
Oh, I'm sure we'll see her again. Bad employee. At least with my experience, the bad employees are usually the ones that get promotions.
Failing upwards.
Yes. So I would be surprised if we seen her again somewhere.
Yeah,
down
it's
the
like
road.
your aggressive tactics would fit in perfectly with our organization. You're evil just like us. In all fairness, a missile launcher does closely resemble a taser. I don't know where you're buying your tasers, but I don't know if that's entirely accurate. And either way, you need to be shooting a taser at the kid anyway, out of a drone. They just are drone striking random United States. That was like in New York, right?
Yeah.
You can't just go blowing up buildings in New York, okay? Americans don't take kindly to that. Damage control. Not at all living up to its name. But other than that, which I did find ridiculous, I was like, what, how? But that was kind of the plot. So, yeah, Miss Marvel, I think, did some stuff right. I'd be interested to see more of it. I guess we'll see what happens in The Marvels.
The Marvels.
Which I can't really say I'm excited for because, I mean, it's not like
she's the only reason I would be
anything.
excited for that one is this iteration of Miss Marvel.
I guess we'll see what happens. Yeah, that's for another time. Anyway, so that's Miss Marvel. It was a fine show. Let's see. I guess I Am Groot. Quickly, that's a series of shorts which I thought were great. Again,
it was adorable.
Guardians of the Galaxy coming up winners.
Wish they were just a little bit longer.
No, they were fine the way they were. They told the story that needed to be told.
They were short.
I want a second season though.
You want more?
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
Baby Groot.
In fact, it's funny. Samuel, my youngest, watched it. He's 4 now, and he was watching it. And he loves Groot. And anytime we're watching a Marvel movie, when that Marvel, dun 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 dun, the Marvel logo appears, are we watching Groot? Are we watching Groot? It's like, no, Groot's in this one, but we're not watching Groot.
Just not the one you wanted.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. So yeah, we want more Groot. That's unsurprising. I think America has spoken with that. It's not just our opinion; it's everyone's opinion.
It's a clever little marketing
Groot,
ploy.
Baby Yoda, anything small and adorable.
Small and cute. Babu Frick, yeah, he's coming up.
Oh, good lord! All right, Multiverse of Madness time.
I was disappointed with this one. Yes, exactly. I mean,
Here we go. So much more.
I enjoyed it, but it
was a letdown.
Yes,
It was a good movie, but it definitely didn't live up to the hype that I had placed on it.
Yeah, because the first Doctor Strange movie is probably one of my favorite Marvel movies. I just love that movie. I could watch it on loop 24 hours a day. And so I was super excited for the second one. And
Mamu, I'm here to bargain.
Yeah, I'm just not. I mean, I enjoyed it for what it was, but I don't think I've watched it since its I think I might have watched it once since it's come out on Disney Plus, but that's about. I don't watch it as much as I do the other Marvel movies.
There were definitely some great things. For instance, I don't actually know if this is a good thing or not, because from She-Hulk, I mean, Wong is just turning into a complete comedic character, but he also had some of that happening in this film.
Mhm.
But I swear to God, I love those fortify your minds when he's shouting that at the sorcerers or whatever when they're about to be attacked. I'm just like, this is the Sorcerer Supreme. You're just shouting "fortify your minds" at your. But people have been used that in great memes, and but yeah, someone else said Multiverse of Madness felt less like a sequel to Doctor Strange and more like a sequel to WandaVision.
Mhm.
Which is upsetting in that case because there's no Vision in it. So because he's still out there
Yeah, we got Vision Quest coming up. So
doing whatever. Yeah, we'll find out.
I'm not sure when, but
It's been announced.
I
Yeah.
did like the special effects.
Special
thought-
effects were good.
Yeah, I thought they were really good. But yeah, it didn't live up to the first movie, I didn't think.
I was expecting more of a Multiverse of Madness.
Yes, a multiverse, not
We'll go like one over and just hang out there. We'll pass through a bunch on the way there.
You'll look at them. You'll see
Well,
animated.
we got like what three Doctor Strange, three.
You had
three
the
or four?
guy that died. You had the one that died. You had the one that was evil, and then
The original.
our Doctor Strange.
And then, oh no, that was the one that died. Yeah,
The one that died was the zombie. Yeah.
Because
Strange.
Which also is kind of disappointing because you see that in the previews and you're like, oh, I can't wait to see what this guy's going to be doing and what his motives are. And it's like, haha, it was just Doctor Strange using his own
Animating
body,
a dead body.
which isn't terrible. It's just like, oh, well.
I was
Okay.
hoping for, we just had that. That's one of the shows you missed was Marvel. Oh no, never mind. That's coming up. But on the What If, you had the zombie episode, and I was like, we had just come off of What If, and we saw the zombies, and it's like, there's a zombie in Doctor
And it's
Strange.
Multiverse of Madness. So
Yeah, exactly. They're gonna bring it in. It's gonna tie together, and you're like, well, that was.
And then you had the Doctor Strange episode in What If.
Yeah.
And I thought that was definitely going to play like a bit. And it's just like, nah. Nah. So yeah. Maybe I shouldn't have put so much hype on it. I mean, and then there was like, oh, Professor X and crew. And it's like, well, not really.
Not from this universe, but
Hey, Professor X.
And
hey,
plus-
Mr. Fantastic.
plus we're going to give them like 5 minutes of screen time, and then we're just going to
It's
kill them all.
just to kill them. Yeah. Isn't that
Yeah, I was
shocking?
really disappointed in that. I was just.
And then Wanda's like, I never wanted to hurt anyone. And I was like, you've been murdering everyone. So I don't know how you can say that with a straight face.
Lie.
You've been killing everybody. You remember Black Bolt? Do you? Because you misted his brain. His head. Well, technically he did it, but you took away his mouth. That was insane. Okay, look. You cut that one chick in half. You turned Mr. Fantastic into spaghetti. And you killed that octogenarian in a wheelchair. What is wrong with you?
I don't mean to hurt anyone.
I didn't want to
Info
hurt
time,
anyone. It's
she'll
like,
hurt
you've
you.
been on a murder spree. Did you know that murdering people hurts them? Did you not made that connection? I just wanted to save my imaginary kids. Well, I don't think that's a good enough reason. Okay? I don't think that that's justified. And then, at the end, she's like, I'll just go into this mountain and I'll kill myself. Wink.
Wink, wink.
Yeah.
I'm
And
dead
then we
now.
don't see her die. You just see a red flash. It's like, oh, you mean the same kind of red flash that happens whenever she does magic? Yeah, I'm sure she's dead.
I'm sure.
After all this. She makes a fantastic spaghetti. I wouldn't try it, but there's a great issue of What If where we read what would have happened if Doctor Strange was Dormammu. I never really got that in the first place because they were like, in the movie anyway, they're like, Dormammu lives in a place without time. And I was like, how?
But yeah, he was put in a loop, so.
And I was like, well, I brought some time with me. And I was like, no, when you first got here, time was happening. Like, what? How was that? What is your realm normally like? Like, wait, what? I live outside of time. How? That's vague. That's why I liked He Who Remains in Loki. He's like, I live in the middle of time. Time's over there and I'm here. Oh, okay. So how are moments passing right now? No, don't worry about that. I just find that funny when they're like, I live outside of time. And it's like, we're having time happen right now. That's no one's with me on that. Okay, that's fair. The DMV, yes, where time goes to die. Where time goes to die. Okay. So, anything else on Multiverse of Madness?
No.
Okay, what else we got? Let's do. How about Wakanda Forever?
You're just saving She-Hulk for last, aren't you?
I guess. I'm just not excited to talk about it, so. But we know that. It's fine. We'll get to it. Let's talk about Wakanda Forever. That one, well, it sucks. I mean, Chadwick Boseman died, and so it was always going to be tough to have to replace him. I think they combined like another movie into the like with Namor and everything. It almost felt a little bit long. So it definitely felt a little long. It definitely could have trimmed it. Yeah.
Well, Coogler came out and said that the original storyline was supposed to be Chadwick and his son, where they fight together. That was the original story.
Yeah. And instead it's like, here's Namor and Ironheart. You know how Tony Stark's gone? Don't worry, we got you a new
Iron Man.
New Iron Man. She's already got the suit. So everyone loved it. And I was just like, no. And she didn't do much for most of it. She's like, gets abducted and then just sits there while the other princess is taking on a grand tour of the underwater, which was a little dark, which I get it, but they could have, maybe they created bioluminescence or whatever so they could see underwater. Like, I get that underwater is supposed to be dark, but there are things you can do to make it look brighter. And that's also a problem I have with a lot of modern day filmmaking and show making, like the things like Game of Thrones, that Darkest Night or whatever. It was literally too dark. And here's the thing.
There's a lot of episodes where you're like, what the hell's happening? I can hear shit, but I can't see it. I've literally had to turn up. I've downloaded the episode, put it in Premiere Pro, the editing software, and turned up the exposure and brightness. And I'm like, holy crap, I can see everything that's happening now. Why? And part of it is the cinematographers are like, people don't have their TV settings correct. And I was like, well, first of all, that's probably true. But second of all, you need to be doing a better job. And you need to realize you're not shooting this for the silver screen. You're shooting it for people to watch wherever they can. So you need to do a better job on that. Lighten it up so people can see. And every time they're like, well, it was supposed to be dark. It's the darkest night. Okay. But if the audience can't see what's happening, then we don't know how great this entirely dark shot is. We spent months on this. Well, no one can tell because no one can see. And it's terrible. And I say also, well, it's supposed to be dark. Well, go watch The Two Towers and go watch the nighttime raining attack on Helm's Deep
and you could see everything that's happening. And at no point am I thinking to myself, why is it so bright? No, it's just because that's how you're able to see the things that are taking place on the screen. Half the reason visuals, like, Anyway, that was a problem. That was another problem that I had with at least the underwater part. For the rest of it, yeah, it was just a little bit long. It was sad that Chadwick Boseman wasn't there.
I wasn't. It was good, and it did what it needed to do as far as closing out Chadwick's his chapter within the MCU. But again, because of the length, and I mean, you've got the new Black Panther, and it's almost like she's the reluctant hero again. She doesn't want to take her brother's spot. And then when she finally does, it's like, well, I'm the hero, but I'm sad about having to be the hero because I have to take my brother's spot. And it's like, step into your role.
Yeah, step up.
It's
time.
Look, what did Hawkeye say to Wanda in Age of Ultron? Look, you can sit here and that's fine, and you can get your brother to come get you, and that's okay. I'll do that. But if you need to go out and help us. There's Avengers, blah blah blah.
Be an Avenger. Yeah. And then at the end, it seems like he's gonna betray them anyway. So, should you have let him live? I did like that bit with Michael B. Jordan. Spoiler alert! But when she, takes the herb and sees him instead of what she expected to see, I like that. That was a cool twist. And yeah, if you just tighten this movie up, I think it would have been more effective. Should have taken more time with it. They tried to salvage a movie that was already written, merged it with a new script. Yeah, it seemed like they kind of slapped that other movie in there. It's pronounced Namor. As in, I don't want to watch no more of this. I like it. And yeah, there was. They did have to go and take time to explain that. And that's the thing is like, I feel like they put Namor's story into a Black Panther story, and they were just like, yeah, like he said, merged it with a new script. It was just nobody really got what they deserved.
It was like the Rise of Skywalker. That's exactly what it was like. It was like, oh well, we've got to try and cram 2 movies into one movie, and so we're just gonna everything's got to be done fast and quick, and we're not gonna explain a whole lot, but we'll cram everything in there.
Oof. It's not a compliment, ladies and gentlemen, being like the Rise of Skywalker. Not a compliment, unfortunately.
You didn't say it was.
I know. I'm just throwing it out there. Okay, so I'm guessing that's about it for Wakanda Forever. Anything else?
Nope.
Yeah, that's fine. Wakanda Forever. So what else is there?
No more avoiding it.
She-Hulk. Everybody's favorite show. Now I'm sad. Yeah. It's gonna get worse. Anyway, I mean, I don't know. Deb, you liked it, right?
I enjoyed it, yes. I mean, there was a few things that I was like, what the fuck? But, you know, for the most part, I enjoyed it. I thought it was funny. I related.
The only way that show could have been any worse, I mean, it was already really, really bad, but if they had added a laugh track to it, I think I would have watched like one episode and been like, all right, I'm done.
Can't take this anymore.
You lost me.
John said She-Hulk is thankful for Velma. Yeah. Because Velma's just across the board. Everyone's agreeing that it's terrible. Some people like She-Hulk, which is, I guess good job for the She-Hulk crew. You got some people to like your terrible show. No offense to anyone that does like it. I just, you know, the ending is really the final nail in the coffin for me, because like the whole show, you're watching it and it's like, well, at least it seems like they're setting something up to happen. Be interesting to see what happens. And you get to the last episode and she's just like, I don't want to deal with these problems, so I'll just make them go away. And then they magically go away, and all the things they've been setting up, and they're like, we wrote a terrible show, get it? And I'm like, yeah, I've had to sit through it the past 5 weeks. Yeah, I get how stupid it is. Do you see me not laughing? But apparently, if you're, not a fan of She-Hulk, it's because you're a misogynist troll.
Yeah, you're sexist.
Yeah.
Isn't She-Hulk the best show ever?
I'm not really a fan.
You're an incel.
The preceding joke was brought to you by Men.
Men, we don't know what we did.
It did give, it made me make that, which is one of the best.
It made me make that.
Yeah, that show made me make that. And a lot of people have enjoyed that on like TikTok and whatnot. So I'm not saying nothing positive has come out of the show, but like that's clearly just me making fun of how terrible the show is. Oh man. And people are like, but that's what she does in the comics. She breaks the fourth wall. And I'm like, I'm not against breaking the fourth wall. But the way that it was done in this makes everything else that happened in the show basically irrelevant. Like, why would you ever go back and watch that again? I don't know. Because, okay, look, even in Deadpool 2, they have a time travel device. But they don't use the time travel device to make it so the whole movie basically never happens. Like, there's still cause and effect. There's still... And when he breaks the fourth wall to talk to the audience, yeah, okay, we get it. The way that they did it in this just feels like... I hope that those writers didn't get paid for this. This is not the level of work that deserves to be paid money for. It's literally crap. They themselves in the final episode say that it's crap. She says it's crap and then rewrites everything, which is in itself a crap move done by the actual crap writers. And then like the show ends and it's like, I hope you liked it or you're sexist. And it's like, I don't appreciate that at all.
The
type
best
of attitude,
part of this show was Daredevil. Matt Murdock.
And what does that
No,
say?
hey,
The best part of my She-Hulk show is a character that is not the titular character.
And even that, I mean, he was great in it. He was awesome. Loved him. But I'm sorry, you lost me on the whole walk of shame thing. I was like,
It wasn't
I
a
was
walk
fine with
of
that. A lot
shame.
of people didn't like it. I still say stride of pride.
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, he's whistling.
Yeah,
he's
that was
got
not
his-
a walk of shame. He did not. He was holding his head up high. He was
There's
smiling.
some guy in a devil costume walking around without his shoes on out there.
And he's like, I'm like Toph from Avatar: The Last Airbender. I can see better when my feet are bare. I don't know. I see through vibrations that yeah. You'd get it if you were a fan of Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Never seen it.
I'll go see it. It's good.
It's a great show.
Yeah, no.
It's on Netflix.
The first 2 or 3 episodes are kind of like, bleh, but once it gets going, it's good. Yeah.
I just actually rewatched it. It's one of my favorite shows. Unlike She-Hulk, which I think is terrible, and they should not make more of it.
Ever.
Even like, actually, if they totally reworked how they were doing the show, maybe. But I don't even want to give them that chance. I don't want to suggest that should be done. But if they actually made it like a legal comedy, which is what they claimed it was, but it wasn't. If they actually made it like that, I'd be more interested.
There may have been like 1 or 2 episodes that dealt with legal stuff, and even then, it was like background characters doing it.
There's this guy that has a YouTube channel, and I forget what it's called. I should look it up. But he's like an actual lawyer, and he looks at shows and stuff and says like what thing, and he was like, She-Hulk is like the worst. He's just pointing out all the things that they're doing terribly wrong as far as the law is concerned. And I know that like even legal shows get stuff like that wrong. It was just so funny because if you're watching She-Hulk, you're like, this is not how a courtroom works. I get it, tongue in cheek. We just created a portal to summon our witness. But in a real court of law, they would have been like, why the heck didn't you have the witness here before this? Stop opening portals in the courtroom. The bailiff would be like coming down on you with a gun. Anyway, legal eagles. Yes. I think that's right. I'm pretty sure. Yeah. How you gonna like She-Hulk and shrug off Avatar? Talking to you, Debbie.
I don't like Avatar.
You haven't seen it.
How can you say you don't like it if you haven't seen it?
I'm just turned off by Avatar in general. So
no, not Avatar, not the.
I know you're talking about the animated series, right?
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Not the blue people.
There's just no appeal to me.
The U.S. anime.
No appeal whatsoever.
I think it's great.
I'll watch a lot of things, but anime, no.
There you go.
I had to suffer through Star Wars Visions. And
I still haven't finished that one.
Or
so
6 episodes, I think it was, and that.
Well, that's not a good example of like. That's an irregular anime. Well, that's like what is it? I'm not a compilation, but it's a bunch of different artists, each telling short individual stories.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like an anthology. Whereas Avatar is all one style and it's a continuing story. So it's better in that way.
I tried watching Arcane and I just, if there is absolutely nothing on, I'll go back and watch a few episodes, but.
Anyway. She-Hulk. That's
can we be done with it now?
We're done with it.
Leave it alone.
Sweet.
So the last thing we're gonna do before we go, that was 2022 overall.
Now, wait a minute.
What? We missed something?
The 2 best things that happened in this phase were the
Werewolf by Night and
the 2 special presentations.
Yeah, those were the 2 best things out of this phase.
So that's the Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special and Werewolf by Night, which, yeah, that's unfortunate that those were the 2 best things.
Yeah, because both of those I've watched multiple times since they've been out. Very good, very well done.
The Guardians is on my must-watch Christmas movies list now. The Guardians Holiday Special. It's right up there with Christmas Vacation and A Christmas Story. It's like, we got to watch the Guardians. Find a night.
That opening song was pretty great. Yeah. And the whole thing was great, but that opening song, like you think of Christmas songs, that one was very Guardians of the Galaxy style. You guys tell me you just got those instruments? They're really good. Yeah, that was a lot of fun. That was a lot of fun, and Werewolf by Night was, Guardians was great for the holiday season. Werewolf by Night was perfect for Halloween. And if they keep doing stuff like that, holiday specials, I think people will keep enjoying them if they're the same of that quality. But I would just like them to make the movies of better quality. Because what do we have? We had Thor: Love and Thunder, Wakanda Forever, and Multiverse of Madness for the Marvel movies this year, and it's like, ooh.
Not a lot of slim pickings there.
And the one I was really looking forward to is Multiverse of Madness, and still that was like not quite up to what I was hoping for. But we'll see. Again, the next one is one I'm looking forward to. Ant-Man.
Quantumania.
And so before we go, because we're about done here, there's a new, or at least new for us, we haven't watched it on the show, Ant-Man trailer. So let's see. It's not the first Ant-Man trailer, it's the second Ant-Man trailer. So let's See if I have it.
Evie.
You're an interesting man, Scott Lang. You're an Avenger. You have a daughter. But you've lost a lot of time, like me. We can help each other with that. Who are you? I'm the man who can give you the one thing you want. What's that? Time.
I can rewrite existence and shatter timelines. You cannot trust him.
I don't care who this guy is. I just lost so much. He can give us a second chance.
Let me make this easy for you. You will bring me what I need. Or everything you call a life will end.
This is all my fault.
You may not want her to watch this.
We had a deal.
You thought you could win.
I don't have to win. We both just have to lose. I'm sorry, Cassie.
That's a good trailer. That's a good trailer right there.
I just hope they're not setting us up for more failure on this one. As far as basically, Kang is in this movie as much as he's in the trailer, where everything we've seen in the trailer right now that's all the Kang we're gonna get.
I don't know. It certainly seems like they're having conversations and making deals. So,
and honestly, I had an issue with this with Endgame. Was Cassie in the second movie was like 7 or 8, and then you had Endgame, and that's 5 years later, which means that she's like 13. And I don't buy this girl as 13. I'm sorry, I don't buy.
She's supposed to be older than that. Let's see, how old is Cassie in
Ant-Man and the Wasp? Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if it's...
It says she would have been about 16 years old in Endgame, 11 in Ant-Man and the Wasp.
I
so
still,
16 years old.
I don't buy that girl in Endgame was 16 years old. I'm sorry.
Well, they recast her, didn't they?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm not really hung up on that. I'm more hung up on her haircut, but apparently that's comic accurate, so whatever. But she looks ridiculous in one of the latest promotional images. She's wearing like a suit and like has that hair doing weird stuff, and I'm just like, what's happening?
I'm kind of I'm concerned here too, because it's almost like, oh, we're gonna kill. It's almost like you get the idea that they're gonna kill Ant-Man, and somebody's gonna have to replace Ant-Man, and who's it gonna be? Oh, it's gonna be Cassie. And I'm just like,
well, I mean,
killing everybody.
You see so many variants of Ant-Man. It's like we don't know which one he's actually killing.
If those are variants or not something else.
And this is something, and maybe it's just wishful thinking on my part, but I have not seen anybody say anything. When they go to the Marvel Studios logo, and it's starts out red like normal. Then it goes to green just for a little bit, and then it goes to the blue, purple, whatever color that is. And I'm like, green's usually for Loki. So are they going to have the TVA?
Well, I mean, he did say he can control and destroy timelines, and he is the statue.
He is he who remains. So,
well, I mean, at the end of Loki, there's literally a statue of Kang in the
Yeah, but I'm just saying, will they make an appearance? I have a feeling Miss Minutes might.
Don't want to get my hopes up. I don't want to get my hopes up, but that would be pretty great if, because we do know Loki's the only thing confirmed for a second season, like one of the only things that's definitely getting.
No, what if's getting a second season?
Yeah, I'm just saying not that many things of, like, they confirmed Loki fairly early.
Yeah, that was right at the
well,
end.
they confirmed that at the end of his show, because that was one of the credit spoilers, was Loki will return in season 2.
Just talking about that.
Yep.
Who knows? Those
Maybe.
rings still look like the 10 rings.
Mm-hmm.
Especially when they glow up and you see the symbols on the sides. It's like, okay.
And then we got Darren, I think that's his name, Darren Criss, back as MODOK. He was the Yellow Jacket or whatever that was.
Oh, Darren. Oh, is that
who that is?
Yeah.
Oh.
I don't know if it was this trailer or the first trailer, but it shows Kang walking down. MODOK is like behind him and above, and you see Darren Criss's face. Not there.
Okay.
But you do see his face. So yes, he's back.
Isn't it Darren Cross?
What? Oh, I'm thinking of Glee. Darren Cross, whatever.
Yeah, so this definitely looks pretty cool. A lot of potential. But I said the same thing about Multiverse of Madness, and while that wasn't terrible,
well,
it
a lot of
lot
of potential is not a bad thing.
Yeah.
Yes, it does have potential. It could be something great, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be.
True that. Yo, you're booted off YouTube for policy violations. Yeah, well.
Whatever.
I must have played the trailer.
Probably because we played the
trailer.
trailer.
But it's been out for a while.
Well, they do this all the time, is they take it off and then later they get a message. It's like, your whatever's been removed, like, or our copyright issue against you has now been removed. So it's
well, at least we did it at the end of the show. It'll be back up.
Yeah, I'm not worried about it. Anyway, I mean, we saved it till the end anyway. So that's it for us on MCU Mondays year in review. Hopefully this next year goes even better than the previous one. There's no She-Hulk, so there's a chance. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, we got a lot of good. Well, Ant-Man and the third Guardians movie. Those are the two I'm really looking forward to.
Ant-Man, the third Guardians,
the Marvels,
and the Marvels are next 3 movies.
And then TV shows, we got Secret Invasion. Echo was supposed to come out, but I heard it was pushed. Don't know that for sure. Loki season 2, Ironheart, and then X-Men 97. So.
And what if and Agatha are all 2023 as well. Agatha, in fact, it wouldn't surprise me if Agatha comes out around Halloween. That would be Halloween.
That would be a good time for it. Anyway,
yeah, they've released some set pictures from there last week.
I don't know what you want. What do you want from me? That's it for us here tonight on MCU Mondays. We'll be back, I guess, next week, even though nothing comes out. But I assume we'll be back. I don't know what we're talking about yet. We'll figure that out. Anyway, we'll be here next week talking about something. And Debbie, thanks for being here. David, you as well.
As always.
And thank you for everybody in the comments, especially John for.
Oh, Thursday night, Bad Batch. We're on season 2, Bad Batch. Come check us out right here.
Episode 5.
5? I think we're on 5. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, episode 5.
The good one was episode 3, and episode 4 was a.
My name's Omega.
Omega.
And that's still my question. How did she get a stronger accent than any of the other clones? How does that work? I don't know. Anyway, yeah, you know me. I love finding problems. Anyway, that's it for us tonight. We'll see you next time.
Shit! Language. Wait a second. No one else is going to deal with the fact that Cap just said language? Just slipped out.
Find the scepter.
And for gosh sake, watch your language.
That's not going away anytime soon.
You bet your ass.
Steve, he said a bad language word.
Did you tell everyone about that? The handle's imprinted.
Out with the platinum bastard.
Steve doesn't like that kind of talk.
You know what, Romanoff? Fury, you son of a bitch.
Ooh, you kiss your